Hello, everyone. I'm Ann Evans, a leadership member at Ashoka, and I want to just welcome you all to this session called Love and Respect in Action, Unlocking Justice for the Good of All. And I just want to say, as a woman social entrepreneur myself, as well as Ashoka staff, I want to thank the WISE team and community for the vision and support of this session. On behalf of the team that I lead, the Faith and Changemaking team, spiritually inspired changemakers at Ashoka, I'm really delighted to be here. And we're focusing our initiative on building the identity and community for faith-inspired changemakers, those people who need to support and learn from one another. We're shifting the narrative about the role of faith and spiritually inspired people in making society better. And we're supporting the community of faith-inspired changemakers with change-making principles and skills and tools and allies and peer learning. And across the world, we find that there are many, many Ashoka fellows who are living out and embodying their spiritual values through their work, not only in what they are doing, but in how they do it. And we welcome the chance to talk with one such fellow today, to talk about how this aspect has influenced her work and how it shapes her life and the people that she works with as well. So in the context of WISE, our intent today is twofold. First, to highlight and learn from the kinds of transformational power that we see in women social entrepreneurs and their unique impact, especially in this case that we're going to look at today, of the male-dominated prison system. So second, we also want to bring an often missing voice, really the dimension into social entrepreneurship world and the social innovation world of that deeper spiritual principles that so many people in the world do operate from. We want to give them a chance to step into speaking about that in an integrated way with their work as social entrepreneurs. So let me get the conversation going now. I'd like to, with deep love and respect, welcome our guest here who is with us today. And this is Dr. Beena Chintalapuri. And thank you so much, Dr. Chintalapuri, for joining us. And we would like to hear about your work and how you are pursuing it. So welcome today.
Hi, and thanks a lot for inviting me, and it's my pleasure to be part of this. Consider it as a privilege, and thanks everybody, the team of this summit.
So we might start with a bit of background of exactly what it is you are doing. I'm sure everyone is curious to know how a woman such as yourself ended up in the midst of a male-dominated system like prisons.
I started to visit the prison because I was invited. And at that point of time, I was not very sure whether I would be going into a setting of a male-dominant male prisons or women prisons. I went there because there was a request that recidivism has to be reduced because barracks were getting full. And initially, I didn't understand. I didn't know why they're inviting me and why me, all the people. But then I said, okay, let me go in and see what it is like. And I was curious too. I didn't know the setting. And as I really started talking to people, talking to these young prisoners inside and the staff, I realized that there is this very secure, there's no harm, nobody seemed to be aggressive, and it was all cool scene. So I said, okay, let me start the program. And I started the program and it started evolving because I had to learn, they had to teach me. So prison inmates became my teachers. And they started putting the program and together we were working on these training modules and so on and so forth. And once I rolled it, then I had to wait and see whether this has any impact. And since it is showing impact, then I said, okay, let me settle.
And let me just say that I should have mentioned in the start that you are a professor at Osmania University and also in the Department of Prisons for Telangana State in India. So with your organization, which is called Unati, you might tell us about what that means also. But you are across two worlds, as I understand, the world of the university and the world of the prisons.
So yes, I crossed, but then I didn't feel difficult about it, because there is always a bridge there for me, that is psychology. It's human behavior. I realized that what is that I have learned in my university and taught in the university, now I have an opportunity to practically apply to a community. So that made me, yes, I'm also hungry for learning, like my own students. I have a huge appetite to learn. So I said, let me get into this setting, and I bought several books and I started. But then I realized that what they teach is much better to me to pack the whole program and drive it towards success. So it's called Unnati because Unnati word is progress. And this is how it's evolution, it's progress from a mental level and their own spiritual level inside. Basically, the peace is in progress when we do the Unnati program.
Mm-hmm. So tell us how it works. You have a few slides you might share if you wish, but tell us how it works. Give us the setting so that we have a picture of how this happens.
I feel now when I go, I'm going home. You can see this is such a beautiful setting. And this is the approach to one of the central prisons. And this is where I have my office, and this is where I work. And I have started working from this particular prison, and I have some very, very brilliant teachers and volunteers who have helped me to take this forward. And this program started from here. We have a beautiful hall. Over a period of time, they realized that I keep negotiating for everything over there. I say, I need tables, I need chairs, I want this, I want that. At some point they said, my goodness, why did we call her? She retired and she was happily staying. And initially these inmates were also very curious about why I was coming. In fact, one of the inmates told me one day that, why are you coming, Amma? You should stay in your house in a drawing room, put on AC, watch TV serial, and bother your daughter-in-laws. So I said, I don't have any of those. These were some of the reactions initially, but now everything is very different in this particular prison. Now we can see the approach of this prison. This is where I go most of the time. So
describe for us what the inside, this is a beautiful exterior. Describe for us what the inside is like.
Very, very, it's like a resort.
My goodness.
Very small buildings, barracks, and greenery is maintained, because prison is a very clean place, I have realized. This particular prison, I mean, Telangana prisons are very particular about nature, trees, and flowers around. So there are a lot of colors around, butterflies around, and they have lawns inside where they play. They have grounds, football they play, cricket they play inside. So it's a very different place.
And what is the atmosphere like in the room where you are conducting your program?
It's a very different, like a classroom setting, and where the inmates come to learn something. Initially, they would have some hassles, but then there's a very nice toilet. There is a water facility, and there is tea which is served to them. Sometimes they get biscuits. So with all honor,
Mhm.
they are treated. They're treated with respect, and the volunteers are trained so that not one single harsh word or angry word should be used in that abuse inside the classroom. So there is a
Mhm.
huge discipline inside the classroom. And if somebody says, no, I don't like it and I want to go, he should be left. So there is no force. Willingness is one very important thing. And everybody should be comfortable that day.
Mhm.
Those 3 hours are a comfort kind of a scenario. It is for everyone, for everyone.
Mhm. Mhm. So tell us what happens in these 3-hour sessions. Yeah.
So
What
like
is,
this,
yeah.
sorry,
How do
like
you
this,
do
there are,
this?
yeah, how do we do that? They're like one, they since they're brought in with a lot of respect, there's a heart there for each one of them. And we keep winning little by little their hearts. So it's not just one day.
Mhm.
And they come to this building, and this building, they never come to this building, inmates, but suddenly they walk into the main building there. And then they're seated comfortably with respect, and we inform them that this is how it's going to be, the class. And then who would be teaching the class is these older inmates who are convicted prisoners.
Mm.
So they look at them. Oh my God, our teachers are all these big guys who were already murdered somebody, graduated, and we are small ones. But then we tell them they tell them that, listen, we don't want you to be like us. We don't want you to get stuck like the way we are stuck here. That's the reason why we have taken up. So, like this, it goes on. And we have so many modules. It's 21-day program. And then we have a very interesting the way we break ice, because they come from different barracks and we need to know them. They need to know volunteers, so there's a full participation, there's an ice breaking. And then, because it is important for us to know a few things, they will also administer some psychological tests, and then we move to with an activity how to reset goals. Everybody has goals, they have very big goals, to loot someone, to rob someone. These are the big goals they have. So, but then you need to make them reset towards the lawful. It is simple activity, but the debrief is very important, where we classify what kind of a person you are, what kind of a criminal you are. You are a smart criminal, I mean, offending guy, and you are a daydreaming kind, or you are a very dull kind of a guy, and then you're very strategic. So this blows them up completely. When they hear that, listen, guy, you are something like this. It may not be 100% true. This is how, this is very technically done. We load their responses onto a computer, Excel sheet, and then we bring it. And then there's a small description about each one. Then we go on to visualization as to how they have to, was the past, and how do they visualize their future. And it's very important what's happening to them right now. And they come up very, very with a lot of pain, lot of remorse that they express. It's through pictures they have to express, and they give the legend for the picture which they choose and which they stick in a chart. And they ponder, they reflect on this, all these things happen. And then there is a beautiful, this is where, after we reach somewhere halfway through, that is the time we talk about their narrative, prime narrative. Not forced, but there a little bit of their own stories happen there. And I'm sure that there are some of these stories are more genuine than what they really tell the lawyers or the police.
Mhm.
I mean, we don't record, we don't do anything with that, but then that's how. And then there is this psychodrama. They love it, they enjoy it. It's their own skits, they prepare, they practice, they come back. They are the audience, they are the script guys. And then about emotions, they said we need to know something about emotions like anger, like revenge. We go through this. How about you telling us about it? So we have something on emotion, sadness, guilt. These are all are discussed there. And suicide prevention is something, because we don't want them to get in. And then suddenly we come to the value based modules, peace skills based modules. And those are hope, choice, what kind of a choice you made and where you land up.
Mm-hmm.
And this choice and inner strength, appreciation is something which they need to start, because they've thrown that away completely. That's what they say. And hope is absolutely necessary, and dignity is something which they need to restore for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of the family, for themselves. Clarity. These are exclusively taken from the peace education program of Mr. Prem Rawat, generous enough to give it to us. And then it's all activity based, and they love this, strategically put here, so that by the time IC is broken, visualization has happened, resetting of goals has happened, and emotions are understood, and then we come down. And then we come to another reality, that is alcohol addiction. How many of them have into substance, and what is this situation which would have led them? And then we go on to a family. Towards the end, we invite one or two members, significant members of their family, and they come right into the hall, and they meet them, and the volunteers explain to them, listen, we prepared them in this manner. When they come home, don't nag them. Be a little patient. Don't trouble them. They will go back to their jobs and will start earning. Your support is extremely important. And there are some confessions happen over there that day. They apologize to their parents. They say, we won't behave like this. So this is how the whole content rolls.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are into this whole framework called reason, resetting of goals, reformation, remain responsible, and return not to prison.
Yeah. And it struck me so much in your telling this story that there's maybe also another R that precedes all this, which is respect. Yeah. And that you have shown real love and respect for them, creating a setting at the very start into which they can feel safe and respected and seen as full human beings.
Yeah.
And you're inviting, when we look at the different dots on this visual, it shows also that you're inviting them in their fullness to be present and to consider not just the facts of their life, but also the inner life that they are living, and invite them into this new journey, a new way of seeing what is possible in their lives. I'm so struck by the words at the bottom of hope and choice. Those are things that we don't often associate with a prison system or with someone who's had a criminal past. And so I just love to call that out, that I think that it seems critically important to what you are able to do is that you create this container, almost, if you will, in which they feel extraordinarily safe and respected and appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. And this ice breaking is a session where they have to tell us about their good things or a very positive traits in them. They, for the first time, they look at us and say, do I have something like that? So we push them. They begin to talk about the crime and bad things they have done. We say, no, we don't want that. Don't even come. We are not interested in that. And then this dignity hits them again, where they are they have to talk about what has shamed them and then what can restore their pride when they go out. I mean, all this combination is very beautiful. I keep asking them, why don't we eliminate some of these? Why don't we delete a couple of them and get a new one? They look at me in a very strange manner. They say, don't disturb this. If you want, add, but don't even disturb. They're wonderfully synchronized, and we take them so gently into all these things. I mean, I live it. I respect again.
Yes, yes. And you know, that treatment of someone with love and the appreciation of them as a precious being,
Yeah,
is something that is such a spiritual value. It is also a deep value of Ashoka. You know, we basically say that everyone is precious. You know,
yes,
everyone is powerful. Everyone can express love and respect in their actions. And so, you know, we believe that love and respect in action for the good of all is what change making is. And so I'm really interested also in how you are bringing the prisoners themselves into the process of teaching. So you might say a bit about that, how you do the training for the people who are the prisoners who are actually running this program. As I gather, they are. Is that right?
yes, they are. I openly announced that there is some training of the trainers program is going to happen, and we require some long-term individuals. Initially, there were a lot of hesitation. They would say, no, we're not going to do that. Why? And then the thing came up as they will not get wages, because otherwise they can work in factories and they get wages. And that was another issue. But then later on, they said, okay, we're going to come. Then I went up to the DG and I said, look, pay the wages for Unnati volunteers. And they should be paid max. Well, they don't, but then. So they get wages now, and they come very willingly. They go through their training for about a month and a half, and practice sessions which have to happen because everybody will be watching them, and a batch is given to them to run the whole program and see. And in the debrief, they all tell, their friends will tell them, the other volunteers tell them, no, we made a mistake here, you made a mistake here. So these are all the things which happen in the debrief. So each one is trained in a very intense manner. And there are some who want to drop, that's fine. There's no force. Because there are conditions that you have to come early, you have to generate a report every day, and you have to take attendance, and all these things are in place, like any training program. So
yes, and all the men in this prison, this prison is only men, is that right?
yes.
And you as a woman coming into this space, you know, in the context of South Asia, in the context of male-dominated prison system, with both the inmates and the system authority, the system authorities, could you talk to us a little bit about the challenges or the advantages that you think you have had as a woman and as a woman social entrepreneur working in this space, and what does that lead us to as ideas for others who might be listening in today?
So I used to, I mean, I'm a person like, I have gray hair, which is to my advantage. So I'm not a 16-year-old who's walking inside. And I'm a professor, I'm a teacher. They're very clear about that I'm not a police woman, I'm not a law background person, I'm not from the jail. I'm outside a teacher. That gained some confidence, because initially they used to suspect as to why am I coming, whether there is anybody inside who's related to me. Therefore, I'm trying to, understand them or some advantage which I'm taking. But very soon they realized that I walk in, and many times there is security used to come when I would go inside. There used to be one of the security person who would accompany me inside. Now they are my security. My volunteers are my security. So the security officers, okay, you are going with her, no, inside, that's enough. And I have not seen anybody doing anything to me so far in any of the prisons. I go to 10 prisons, nothing happens. They are with me, they're sitting, I'm eating with them. And sometimes they also comment, why are you wearing this dress? It's not good, it's not suiting, this color is not good, all kinds of things. I just look at
And what have been the hard things?
Not accepting, suddenly becoming very unfair to the inmates in the batch. I mean, they are, I know they have this tons of aggression. When they come, they it is all at bay. But then something sparks, and I have seen them, a couple of them becoming violent inside with the inmates, the participants. And the day I get to know that, then that person is stopped from the program. So there is a discipline to that. And to keep that discipline going is very tough for me. And also the attitude of the officers. I mean, initially they would say, why are you doing this? Nobody will change. You're wasting your time. They will be like this. They will pick out one example for me and showcase, saying that, see, we told you, they won't change. But I have thousands of them. I can showcase to them that, look, they're fine. And I challenge them. I tell them, what do you expect in your institution? Your institution is a criminal institution. They will go up and down. They are criminals. They are not Harvard students who are bright, brilliant. So what is your expectation? That they should be completely transformed and they should listen to you and all those things.
Yes, and the slide just changed to also show some of the success you have had that belies what the prison officials thought would happen. They are predicting more like, I think, what's happening out in the world at large. I checked the data on worldwide recidivism rates, which are between 20 and 60%, which means that within a year or two, 20 to 60% are back in trouble with the justice system. And those who are participating in your program have an amazingly low recidivism rate. You might walk us through this data that you have here. It's quite amazing. This
data is the Unnati participants' data.
Right, the people who are in the program, right?
In the program. So number of prisons and number of people who are released, it takes time for them to get released, but we look for these people who are released and how many would come back. And we talk to them, the ones who come back. There are challenges to me when in some of the batches, they have told me, whatever you may do, I will come back. So they came back, a couple of them, like that, with that attitude, they have come back. But by and large, we are seeing that they are not coming back. I tell them that even if you don't come to this particular prison, if you surface in another prison, we would know. Because there are volunteers all over 10 prisons. They will identify you quickly. They have a list of people. And then to know that they're doing well, we have something called as a released prisoners conclave, where we invite the released prisoners just to see how they're doing, what they're doing. And they come, they have lunch with us, and they talk about their stories. Their family comes sometimes with them, and we pay them the travel. And this is seeing is believing. They challenge me. They say, look, you don't know what they're doing in their homes. So I said, this is a list of people. You call them up, invite them, let's see. I cannot call all the 7,000, but you could randomly call from different districts, different prisons, and let's see what's happening. Yes, there are challenges.
Yes. And one of the things I would love to hear too is as you go from one prison in the state to another, what are the things that you have learned make the difference in being able to scale this and take it from one set of people that you've trained to a place where you're starting from scratch? How do you manage that approach? I'm sure it probably is different now than when you first started. I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey in terms of spreading your impact from one prison to another. Tell us a little bit about how that's worked.
See, I didn't visualize that we would upscale it. But the director general who was there is a very tough person. He said, "What are you doing only in one prison? We want you to take this forward." Then I started traveling and I identified some volunteers from that particular prison, brought them here. Transfer of in the prisons from one prison to another prison is a big no-no. They cannot do that because that's the time when they escape.
Mm-hmm.
And jail authorities have taken. They had to hold their head and say, "Look, she's asking for a transfer." I said, "Look, how are we going to do that then? It is your security issue. You take care of that." And every time I would submit a list to the DG and say, "Won't they escape? Are you sure that they won't escape?" And I used to tell with the heart in my palm, holding tight, I would tell them, "No, they won't escape. You keep the gates open, they will not go anywhere."
So it takes courage. You're having to stand up to these folks.
So, but butterflies in my stomach, I would call them and I would train them. And again, they send them back. I used to be nervous, but internally, I mean, I know that they won't. Once they learn all these things, because it's a big risk for them to go out. There are some of these volunteers have been staying in the prison for 16 years, 17 years. And there is a big temptation for them when they travel from one prison to another prison to go, pick them and go, but they have not done that. None of them. And during the conclave time, they are shifted to one very nice training hall, and the whole building gets cordoned off that day. With police security.
I see. Yeah.
So
yeah. And how long when you begin a new program? Tell us about just how long it takes to begin to get it really set.
So to set this up, it took me 1 year. To establish this confidence in them and not rub them and then say abide by, okay, we want to shut this now in 2 hours time, please shut it, and I will wait. If the day you give me the chairs and benches, only that day I will do. I'm not pressurizing. But then slowly they started. Now they buy the material. And the day we don't have chairs, I now declare that no class. You guys are not going to sit on the floor. Yes. So now they can neither spit me nor swallow me. So they do that. And we have a grant from Indian Space Agency, Antrix. They were kind enough to give us a grant they financially partially support this program. And they gave us a grant. One grant they gave for Unnati Plus, and the second grant they gave for Unnati Plus Plus. So we just completing it this year. Thanks to them.
Fantastic.
For being generous to give it to us.
Yes. Now, are you finding that people around the world are reaching out to learn from your work?
Well, jail is something which is very difficult. I mean, you have a lot of protocols. Somebody cannot be taken in, a model cannot be taken in. But it is open to the world. If anybody wants it, we are ready to share our modules. Great. Now we have become a little more popular within the country. And we are trying to take, at least now they're asking, can you come and train us so that we will start to work? But then unless and until it comes on paper, black and white, I don't move.
Yes.
Because it is jail.
Yes.
And then what about the money part? I need to see the color of that paper and the color of money, then we will do it.
Yes. And I can imagine too, because your model is built on the power, if you will, of the individuals who are in prison themselves, those volunteers that you train, you don't want to have a disappointment for them. So that it's important that, you know, you have, if they're to continue to contribute throughout other prisons, they need to have the full support of the system.
Yeah, it should be, they should mean it.
Yes.
Not simply ask me, okay, come and do it, help. No, no, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a serious person.
Yes.
So I mean business.
Yes. You know, so one of the things that strikes me so deeply about your model is that it is based on some fundamental values and principles that are often associated with people of spiritual grounding. And I'd love to have you share with us, you know, how you've come to these principles. And it struck me, for example, that some of the underlying values I'm hearing here are your belief in the goodness of each person, and that an authentic connection is possible, and that forgiveness is real and has real power. So I just love to hear how what are the values, and how would you say the things that are really critical to you in terms of the values that drive your work, and how have they come to you? How did you come to those in this context?
When I saw that, initially, when I saw them opening up to learn something, that's a 50% job is done for me. Then they will remain there, they will sit, they will listen. I can make out when they're listening, when they're reflecting. Then I know it is sinking. And I create this kind of a very peaceful environment. The ambience of our classrooms are very good. So we have an LCD projector, we have AC halls, school inside. This helps a lot. No cameras in the room, whereas everywhere there are cameras.
Yes.
And there is no security officer inside the class. It's just us. So then they're peaceful. This is another card for me. Another strength for them to be there and absorb. And the third thing is about the discipline which is shown by the volunteers. The volunteers are rough, and I mean, they're tongues of anger, and they used to create a lot of problems inside for this. Some of them have become the volunteers. Their track record is very, very big there inside the prison. But they are docile now. They're so lovingly and so sweetly they speak to them, and they say, we miss our family. You guys go back to your families. Don't even deprive them. Don't do anything which will get you back.
Yes.
So the choices which they make, that's impressed upon them. You make a wrong choice, then you're going to land inside. And don't bother. You were inside the prison for some time. Outside, when you go, there are a few things which will happen. But you have your strength. You have your inner strength. Keep that going. Keep that hope with you. So these peace skills have really scaffolded the change I have seen. Simple suicide prevention, don't commit suicide, simply saying that, okay, don't drink alcohol, it won't make sense. You have to tell them you have strength not to do this. You have hope not to do this. You should have clarity not to do this. So just drawing all these things, connecting all these dots, takes them somewhere. And when I meet them, I say, yeah, you told us the inner strength, and that's what we have. That's why we have not, I have I'm shocked sometimes when they tell me some stories. And this one hardcore guy, he found some gold in one of the temples. It stuck to his foot, somebody's earring, a beautiful one. He lifted it up and he asked whether it belongs to. Then he said, it doesn't belong to me. I have to throw it. He has thrown it back into the shrine. And he said, I felt better. And he's the guy who looted many people.
Yeah, quite a transformation.
Yeah. And it's lovely to see some of them. It's like very fulfilling to me.
Yes.
And what else to do? I should make a difference. I am part of the fraternity of psychology and cognitive psychology. So
yes,
I should bring the change first in their minds, and then automatically behavior will follow.
Uh-huh.
That's the idea.
So, Dr.
Have I answered?
So, yes, you did. And so, Bina, I wonder what this makes me think of too is how you individually found your way to this work. So, it's very deep work, and I see that it has made you come alive and that you are really finding great reward in this work. It's very meaningful to you. It shows in your face when you speak about it. So I would love to understand a little bit of your journey into this work, how you found your way, because listening to us today, there are many women social entrepreneurs who are finding their way in different ways toward their work. It would be wonderful for us to understand what that journey was like for you.
You need to be patient if you have to see somebody changing. And you need to do something, not simply speak, but do something. Their little needs, such as small needs of creating comfort. Respect is something which I have to show to them, and they see, and we establish that. And they're looking very carefully, they watch whether I'm sticking to my time, whether I mean something when I say, and they watch me very carefully.
So the authenticity that you bring is critical.
Yeah. When I say, okay, let's go speak to the superintendent that there is a problem here, they will wait for me whether I really execute that, whether I have the courage to go and represent something for them, which is very genuine. They may not, I know it's protocol. They may not do, or it's possible, not possible, but whether I have gone and represented is something that they should look for. I raise my noise levels for them sometimes. Yeah. And they also know that I go and beg for them. Beg.
Yes.
For their well-being.
Yes.
And I come from a tradition, the teaching tradition from my Indian philosophical teaching tradition, but for two things, a teacher can go and beg. One is for knowledge, and another is for well-being of others.
Right.
That's what my professor taught me.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. Yes. Well, I thought it might be useful now for us to share a video that kind of sums up a transformation that has occurred in the life of one person. And you might want to introduce this video to us.
Yeah, this person was a super hardcore with several cases, and he was like all kinds he did, looting people and abusing people, and robbing bikes and robbing chains and whatnot he has done. And he was one very serious drug addict, alcohol and substance guy. And he's gone to in my opinion, he's consumed almost everything which is available in the world, including snake bite. which is a big dope. It's very fatal, but then that's how, because it dopes. This guy has a history. He's a veteran, and this scene is when he started off. One cold night, he wanted to keep himself warm. So all the currency which he had knocked from a house, he put it to keep himself warm. He started burning them. Those are all the currency notes which he's burning just to keep them. So okay. That kind of arrogance and that kind of all things he had. Mm-hmm. So let's see him, what he was.
Yes.
And I will tell you about him later.
Great.
You can see him, what
Thank
he's
you.
now.
Thank you. Yes. So we'll show the video.
Hey.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Pina. Tell us a little bit more about this and the backstory, as well as how you're using this.
Yeah, he's made this whole video himself. He's a gym trainer now. He's studying psychology. He shares platforms with me. He comes and he says, no, we should be able to do that. And he challenges in the sessions which he takes, he tells them that it's not worth. No substance is worthy of consuming. And he's zero alcohol now, zero substance. I mean, he says when he passes that shop where the wine shop is, I ask him, do you get tempted? He says, no, I look the other side. I don't even want to do anything of that sort.
Mhm.
Very genuine, and he's happy. He loves this life. Now he says, why did I throw away so much of my life that way? And he's just very different person now.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Like this, I have several, because some of the videos are in Hindi and in the regional language. So I thought Tarun would have been good to come and share, but then I don't know whether he's around. If he's around, he can pop up, but I'm not sure whether Tarun is around.
Yes.
So,
Yes. But it's very meaningful to see the before and after, and to realize that also in the context of the work that you're doing, it is really possible for every single person, regardless of what they have experienced in their life, to step into a new place and to be a change maker, to, you know, as he is with other people. And it's a very inspiring thing to see uh, how you have leveraged that power in each person to be able to do the wonderful work of reducing recidivism and creating new life for people.
yeah, it's not an end in itself. There are many who would want this, and there are many times the volunteers call themselves as change makers now, and they say, no, we want a new designation. Call us change makers, and they say we should not do it one after they come inside the prison. How about we doing it to people who are high risk groups?
Yes.
They've already done a couple of them. Like this boy has gone out and did for his friends, and he did Unnati outside for his 12, 13 friends, and they are all beautifully settled now.
Mm-hmm.
He did the whole session.
That's great. Yeah. Fantastic. So it seems like it's a process of transformation that goes back to who this individual is, and remembering the slide with all the beautiful colors of the different parts of the program, that idea of dignity of each person and the strengths of each person that you all are able to call out through the program, the way you're doing it, helping them see themselves in a new light, is so critical to the process.
Yeah, so I'm really grateful to the collaborators, Prem Rawat's Peace Skills modules, and ISRO's contribution to us, financially supporting us. And there are so many others. My students support this program, and so many others come forward to learn about the program. And they're initially they're stunned. They say, "No, we don't believe." I say, "Come down to the prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to them."
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's how.
And it's beautiful to see that it is branching out in ways that you might not have even imagined initially, you know, that someone who has done it inside the prison is now out and can do it with high risk groups,
Yes.
you know. So it has wonderful other additional power, and that they're finding that the mind shift that happens, they can make happen, might keep people from ever going to prison. And what a beautiful thing that is to have as a offshoot of your work.
Several of them want the ones who have graduated from the delinquent homes and now in this main prisons. They say when we come out, we should do it in the delinquent home. We
Yeah.
know how we can stop them from
Mhm.
coming.
Right.
It's all their ideas.
Right.
We have to get them,
Right.
form a nice little group. Already now we have a little training group. These are the guys who come along with me sometimes to share,
Mhm.
and it's beautiful.
Mhm. Well, I'm sure there are people like who, just like I am, are very deeply inspired by the creation of something that allows a person to shift their perspective on themselves and to having stumbled in life, find a way to be respected and loved, so much so that they're able to step into a new way of living. And I'm reminded, and would actually like to close us off with this thought. I'm reminded so much of a theologian from the United States who actually visited Gandhi in 1936, and learned a lot from Gandhi. This was Howard Thurman, and he was an American nonviolent civil rights leader, and an author and a theologian. And when another person was seeking advice from him and asking what the world needed from that person, Howard Thurman responded, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who are alive." And I see that that idea being lived out through the program that you've created, that you're finding that place where each person can tap into what is the most beautiful thing in them, where their innate skills and capabilities and their calling rests, and you try to open them up to see that, and to see themselves in that new light, and to see themselves and to become alive through that. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
So I also feel that if I am peaceful, I would be able to do this. This is, again, I cannot go the day I'm very, upset or aggressive. That is something I don't.
Mm.
So it's a learning for me too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then I should be able to go. That genuineness will come only. And I should be able to enjoy that meaning. I should be able to enjoy that transformation, which I see. It's maybe very small.
Yeah.
But to me, it's an individual. It's very precious.
Yes.
My participants are very precious to me.
And to come in, and as you say, to come into that work with the right inner state yourself is an important part of it.
And not be judgmental about it. Not just, okay, they murdered 2, 3, 4, doesn't matter. That's not my concern. I'm finished.
Right. Yes.
The judges are finished with that.
Right. This is still a precious life. Yeah.
They ask me sometimes, they say, we are looking at the restorative justice component of whether it is possible for us to, that they can go with remorse and apologize to the victims. And some of them said, when we are released, we would like you to come with us, to go and talk to them and apologize to them and do what we can do to them. Will you be with us on that day? So I have become now security for them.
Right. It provides an assurance that they're not back to do something else. Yes, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Bina. It has been such a joy, and I hope that those who have been listening have seen the beauty of this model and the way that foundations of social entrepreneurship can occur in such ideas as forgiveness, as in seeing a person as a whole person. These are beautiful ideas that have a place in our movement. They shape not only how we do our work, but also what work we even do. So thank you again for being with us. And with that, we will say a precious farewell to those of you who have joined us. And we hope that this has been as moving to you as it has to us.
Thank you. Thank you.